if you wanted to do something, you had complete freedom to bulldoze everyone in your way, right? And an organization that feels comfortable enough to allow that, where it doesn't worry about, titles, designations, fragile egos, it actually says something about that organization.
How do you build the most powerful teams?
Yeah.
Right. Do you build a top-down approach? Do you build a bottom-up approach? And a lot of us take inspirations from how companies in the West have built their teams, right?
Yeah.
Whether you build in silos or you build innovation outside of your core setup and so on. So how does that sit well with you as an individual? And it could differ from what you've done at 1mg.
No, so that's again great question. And I still remember back when we were doing our first leadership offsite. That was when we had a leadership team to call to an offsite. We thought about this back in 2015, maybe 16, I think, and we were like, "Oh, company is too big. We need to think about values." And each one of us thought about, so between Prashant, Tanmay, and I, each one of us thought about what values are really important. And we still can't think of better values to pick. So there are 4 key values at 1mg, which is how we like to run the company. One is be a CEO, which is, you take ownership, because ownership defines the core of a startup. Most startups fail because, enough people don't feel empowered to take ownership. So we want to make sure, and this is something that I learned at Zynga, which I think was an amazing environment, that if you wanted to do something, you had complete freedom to bulldoze everyone in your way, right? And an organization that feels comfortable enough to allow that, where it doesn't worry about, titles, designations, fragile egos, it actually says something about that organization. So this was very close to me.
Right. That's what fragile egos is an important one. Yeah.
Very important. Right? Yeah. And the second is empathy with accountability. Right. So we wanted to make sure that we were holding people accountable, but we were also empathetic, and we gave everyone in our organization is meant to ensure that they understand that when you hold people accountable, a lot of times it's actually something that we may have done wrong, which is why the person's not able to, let's say, deliver their full potential, right? I don't know how often we fail at it, because we do fail at it, right? But that's a stated value, right?
Yeah, at scale it's difficult to be absolutely right 100% of the times, right? So
then, done is better than perfect. Again, like a core startup value. And that value is actually very nuanced and very tough, because now when we ask teams to hit better quality, they ask, hey, but our value is done is better than perfect. And we're like, hey, as a company grows, the bar for done needs to keep going up, because the customer assumes us to do more. And the last value that we've had is that team is before individual, right? We don't want superstars, we would rather have superstars team. And we've tried to build a company around that. If you come to 1mg office today, there's a lot of transparency. We all sit on an open floor plan. I don't have a cabin. I don't have a designated meeting room, right? I go hunt for meeting rooms because most of the times they're taken. All conversations happen in front of everyone. Prashant sits next to me, Tanmay is somewhere else, and we at least want to make sure that at 1mg, ideas get evaluated on merit rather than on my designation and title.
Yeah, true.
Right? And that's what we've tried to say.
Is there